My name is Meghan Quinn. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Psychological Sciences at William & Mary. My degree is in clinical psychology from Northwestern University. I first became interested in clinical psychology when I was an undergrad at the University of Wisconsin. There I majored in psychology. I took as many psych classes as I could, and really what I became interested in was various factors that contribute to depression and other disorders. Some of the factors that I'm most frequently studying are different cognitive factors and different physiological factors. And the reason that I study those factors is because I want to understand individual differences in how people respond to stress, as well as how people respond to negative emotions that they might be experiencing. In my lab, the Stress and Emotion Lab, we are usually running a number of different studies examining these factors. An example of something that we're frequently studying is based in this idea that stress can impair some of our basic cognitive processes. These cognitive processes are sometimes referred to as executive function or executive control, and they're really essential for all different abilities. Now, they're essential for abilities that include things like emotion regulation and coping ability. So this means that some people, when they're exposed to a stressor, actually experience impairment in the very processes that would be useful for allowing them to cope with that stressor that they're experiencing. And in some of my research, I am interested in better understanding how that occurs so that I can then figure out how it is that certain people might be vulnerable to disorders like depression as a result of that impairment. To study this, we usually bring people into the lab. We measure cognitive processes using different computerized tasks. We measure different physiological processes in all sorts of different ways. Oftentimes we hook people up to different sensors so that we can measure things like heart rate or heart rate variability. And the goal of all of that is really to just get a really full picture of what is going on when people are exposed to stressors. And again, the goal is to understand vulnerability to disorders like depression. Down the line, the hope is that this can contribute to identification of at-risk individuals, as well as identification of targeted interventions for those individuals. To conduct this research, my lab involves students, graduate students, as well as a whole team of undergraduate students. They're really essential for collecting all of this data, for getting all of the data ready for analysis so that we can put this into publications. For this reason, I feel really fortunate to be here at William & Mary because our students are really dedicated and really curious, and this really shows through in the research that they do.